Welcome back. On a previous episode about quick wrenches, somebody asked how the Mastercraft quick adjust wrench works. I thought that was a really good question, and I kind of wanted to know the same. So we're going to open up this wrench and have a look inside. So let's start here. It looks like it's taking number 1 Phillips. Yeah. Now, these blue pieces that I'm removing right now are the scales, and I wonder what we're going to see underneath these. I have a little tiny magnetic bin. I'll put it actually right up there to help keep the screws separated. This one looks like it's longer than the others. Yeah, so far 2 different types of screws. Oh, okay, well, that's the scale, I guess. If it was like a multi-tool, I guess this would be the scale. And this is just a proxy button that comes off. Now, I forgot to show you how it is used, so I'll show you again real quickly here. Essentially, there's a little tiny hand press right there, and when you push it in, these get closer together, and if there's something in its way, it will stop. And then if you want to get it bigger again, if you want to release the mechanism rather, you push the little button here, and it shoots out. So that's how it works. Sorry I didn't show that sooner. Now it looks like there's internal screws here, and you can start to kind of see the mechanism. From the looks of it, it looks like there is it's belt driven right there. So that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Let's see what's on the other side here. So these are again the same screws. So I'll put them with a little pile for these sizes. There's a little bit of oil in here, as you'd expect, which makes getting these little screws out a little tough. You'd think I would grab something. Actually, yeah. There we go. There you go, little forceps for if I'm having trouble getting this out. Another long one there. So it looks like the long one goes back in the middle. I'm partially saying this so that I can look back at the footage if I can't get it back together. Another small one. So here's the other scale. So yeah, let's put those off to the side. So now let's look at this back here. Pretty much the exact same as this. So it looks like there's another piece of plastic underneath here that's keeping everything together. So looks like we can take this guy out. It looks like this piece of plastic can come out normally, but on this side we would have to take this piece off, which I assume has springs in it and everything for this button. So I'm going to try to take this side off first because I don't want to deal with the springs if I don't have to. So here it looks like we have number 2 Phillips, and we'll start down here. Okay, that's a small little screw. Now I'm using my 810 Hazit here to disassemble this, which is a little overkill, but it has a really low back drag and allows me to get these screws out pretty easily. So far, all the bigger number 2 Phillips screws are the same size. I'm going to keep some finger pressure on this piece right here, so I don't know if it's going to spring up at me when I remove all these screws. Though I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't come up at all. Yeah, it doesn't come up at all. You know what we'll do here? Okay, in lieu of getting an actual pry bar, I'll use this Okay, so that's coming up. Okay, so it looks like it's not going to come off because of this here. So we do have to take this off. So it looks like I got to switch back to my number 1 Phillips. And I'm going to keep my thumb right there in order to make sure that if there is a spring in there, it's not going to attack me. And this guy looks to be the same size. That's smaller, actually. So let's put him in his own little spot right there. Oh, yeah. I can feel when I let go. Oh, you can see it's spinning all around. So I may have fucked it up here. Yeah, it's those type of springs. Okay, so there's 2 springs in here for the button mechanism. There's a regular spring, and then there's those kind of coiled springs that are, I'm not going to pull it out from there, but these are a pain in the butt to get out, and I guess I could have realized that was there, because had I examined sooner, I would have seen this little tiny bit right there. So, did we lose that screw? And part of the reason of using this is so that we don't lose screws, and, oh, the screw is right there. Look at that, crisis averted. Okay, so there you go. The button comes out no problem. I just had to poke it through. So we got to switch back to the number 2 to get these remaining screws out. Okay, those are the same. We'll put them in that pile. So far, of everything here, I don't see a real issue with putting it back together, except for that spring inside of there. I don't know how I'm going to get that back together. So this video might not have a satisfying conclusion. Sorry about that, but that's what happens when you're taking things apart to see how they work. And I really dislike trying to put these little back together. So let's see here. So it is coming off, and actually I think this might not be plastic. Oh yeah, it is. It's definitely plastic. But there is something that's keeping it in. Ah, there's a little tiny retaining pin right there. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That just pulled right out. I've kind of backtracked here. You saw me take everything apart, but the best way to show you how this works was for me to reassemble parts of it. So you remember here how we had the button that we pushed. That's where the button is. So I had to take off the front cover. So I had to reassemble everything else except for the front cover. Okay. So now with this off, we can see how this guy is working. Okay. First of all, as we press this, it pulls this back and spins. I don't know if you can see that there, but spins this copper circular piece on top of this gear underneath. And it will just spin that as I'm pulling this. Okay? And it won't spin anything else. On the bottom here, we have the button. And if you look at the button, it's circular, except for on either side, you can see it has flat bits, so it's like a cam, kind of like a key as well. And that fits into there, okay? When we put the spring back in there, it pushes it forward. Now, with that engaged, because the cam piece is going up and engaging with this and the gear, when I push it now, you'll see it spins this gear, which connects with this gear right here, and that runs through here, and that connects to this belt system, which goes up here, and when you push it, it's going in the direction of closing it. To get this to open, we need the jaws to go this way, so we need this gear to spin in the opposite direction, okay? So when we push the button, what happens is we disengage that cam lock, let's call it. And when it's just sitting there, we can see it's no longer engaged. It has to be fully up to engage it. So when it's not engaged, it's like that, okay? And we have this terrible spring mechanism that I don't think I'll be able to get back in. And that, the little bit right there of this spring, again, I'll show you, that little bit right there slots into here. So as you're pushing and closing, as you're pushing this mechanism and closing these, stored tension is created in this spring as this piece turns one direction. And the tension is created in a way that it wants to spring the opposite direction. And this stays engaged because of this spring right here. So there's two springs working on this mechanism. One that keeps this permanently engaged until you push it in. When you push it down enough, it gets to a certain point right there where that's flush, and that allows in an instance for this coil spring to uncoil, spin it the opposite direction, And I can kind of show you it opening right here. So you can see here, that's what it would be doing, but very quickly. Okay. So again, let's engage it. Okay. We push the button, and you can see how as I'm pushing this button that has the cam bit inside connects the pulley to that gear, and that gear is attached to that other gear, which is through there, connected to the belt, pulls it, and you can see the direction that's going in. So this is going this way. When we disengage it, oh sorry, if it's engaged and we try to go the opposite direction, you'll see where we can't go the opposite direction. But if I disengage it, okay, you can see I can now go the opposite direction. So that's how that works. I hope I explained it in a good way that you understand. Now let's try to reassemble this stupid thing. I don't know if I'll be able to, but let's have fun. Get some grease off my fingers. Okay. So I've gotten this all reassembled. Everything's feeling good. All the pins are in the right spots that they're supposed to be in. Tighten this guy up just a little bit more. Okay, so we know things have to go that way. First of all, let's put everything back in the way it should go. Okay, and now this is going to be a little tough, but let's slot this in. So you see how I'm going to slot that little piece right in like that. And it feels like it's engaged. I'm feeling if it's engaged by turning it like this. I feel a springing action working again, and you can see how this is not lining up very well for me. So that tells me that I do have it engaged in there. Okay, so I do have it engaged in there. Okay, so I have one screw in. Let's get the other screw in. Tighten these guys up just a little bit. Okay, let's see here if the button's working great. Let's see, that's moving. Let's see. No, okay. So of course it's okay. Let's reset this. So it's not enough that we're going to get lucky that we can just insert it like that and turn it on and hope that this winding it winds it enough. It has to be wound a certain amount of times. I don't know how many times that is. So at this point, we're basically at a sort of trial and error. So basically have to stick it in. Let's get it to slot in there. So, okay. And then now we're going to have to really... Oh, my hands are very oily. So let's clean some oil off my hands and get this done. Oh. Okay, so this is in there. We're going to try to spin it. Okay. Okay. So I think I got that in there. So this is one spin. We're doing one spin for now, and we're going to see how the mechanism works. It's really hard to keep that spring engaged and align the holes Okay. And I also don't want to tighten these too much because I don't want to de-thread them. Okay, there we go. So that's 2. Now it doesn't go as fast as it used to, but it does work. So there we go. We just had to coil it around once. Awesome. Let's finish putting it all together. So we remember that this long one here went in the center. And okay. All right, last but not least, let's get this guy on. Let's put the center guy in where he goes. So it's all back together. One more test, and it's working. I think it's really good to take things apart because in doing so, you can learn how they work. You can learn how different mechanisms are designed to work together. And as a result, you can take those designs, you can take those ideas and apply them to your everyday life when you're making something or repairing something around the house. Because I feel like a lot of people are buying things and throwing them out now, and we're not learning how things are made anymore. We're not repairing things. So it's good to gain this knowledge because I never know when I'm going to need that. Yeah, well, thanks for watching.